Well, this movie is truly my second favorite Johnny Depp movie, and his most underrated movie that he's ever done. Let's talk about it, shall we? Okay, so Blow came out in the year 2001, directed by the late Ted Demme, and stars Johnny Depp, Penélope Cruz, Liotta, Rachel Griffiths, Franka, Potente, and tells the story of the real-life cocaine trafficking drug dealer George Young in a way that recalls Martin Scorsese's Casino. And this movie recounts the man's days from his 1950s childhood, where he was living in poverty, I guess. And his childhood was in Boston to his downfall in the 1980s. George begins his life as the son of Fred, an earnest breadwinner, and Ermine, who frequently walks out on them in pursuit of a more fulfilling life. When George moves west to California in the late 60s, accompanied by his best pal Tuna, he becomes an entrepreneur in the drug business, which soon spreads to the East Coast as well, with girlfriend Barbara smuggling the product during her stewardess shifts. George is arrested in 1972, at which the time Barbara dies of cancer. But George finds a new ally in Diego Delgado, who his real name is different, who proposes the idea that he can become the American conduit for Colombian kingpin Pablo Escobar. George flourishes in the heyday of the disco era and falls for Mirtha, a self-serving bombshell who eventually has a daughter with him. Trouble escalates as the FBI threatens to bring George and his crew down, while he desperately tries to be a stable parent to his young offspring. And that's basically what I can say about Blow. This movie, I first saw it when it was 2010 when my oldest sister had the DVD, and this was way back in 2010, and I saw it, and it was a movie with Johnny Depp, and say, hey, Johnny Depp in a movie. So I watched it, and honestly, I liked it from there. And I haven't seen the movie ever since, so it was good to go back and rewatch it again. I recorded the movie on my DVR one day, and I rewatched it multiple times so I can get a clear opinion out. And you know what? Blow, this movie is great. Now, this movie is awesome. Now, I do admit the end of this movie, it gets too sentimental at the end of this movie. A little bit too sentimental for its own good. But I don't mind the sentimental aspects when he's trying to reconnect with his daughter and he's trying to do something for his daughter, which eventually doesn't go too well. But the thing I like the most in this movie is that it borrows elements from Boogie Nights and Goodfellas. And it shows, especially with the narration of the movie. Johnny Depp narrates this movie, and His performance in this movie as George Young is excellent. He's great. I love his performance in here. He always thinks it's about him and his world, but he has other responsibilities. His love life with Barbara, which eventually takes a sad turn. Franka Potente as Barbara, I think she's pretty great here. Ethan Suplee as Tuna. It was pretty good seeing him in here because I saw him in The Butterfly Effect, and he was pretty good in that movie too. He's great. Ray Liotta plays Johnny Depp's father in here, and Rachel Griffiths plays the mother. That was awesome of them. I think they do great, and it's fantastic. And this is the debut of a very young Emma Roberts. She plays the daughter of Johnny Depp in this movie, and now she had fun doing the movie, but she didn't see the movie until she was more older. So I have to say, she was great in here as Christina Sunshine Young. And how can you go without talking about the rest? Jordi Mollà from Bad Boys 2. He's great here as Diego Delgado, or the real life person's name. I have to say he's great in here. He's really good in here. Also, I feel like the movie does drag a bit in the second act. It does drag a bit in the second half of the movie, but it's 2 hours and 5 minutes, and it knows what it's doing. So I have to say, it's really good. And the drama parts hit you very well, especially when he goes to visit his parents after Barbara dies, and his mom calls the police to have him arrested because she does not want to be an accomplice. Yeah, you could say that's messed up, but I think it was the right thing to do. And I like her little monologue. She says, "Go to jail. It's for your own good. Everyone knows you're a drug dealer. You need to straighten yourself out." And by the time he gets out, he does not learn from this. Penélope Cruz is just awesome in here. I like Penélope Cruz. She may speak Spanish, but she's a good actress. She does have a Spanish accent. That doesn't bother me. And this was the first movie her and Johnny Depp worked on together. The other movie was Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, and then they were in Murder on the Orient Express. But they play two different characters. I have to say the chemistry he has with Penelope Cruz is pretty good. Also, Graham Revell does a good job with the score, and the soundtrack is very well chosen. Very well chosen. You have a great soundtrack in here. The song at the end credits, Push and Pull, that song is just great. Nika Costa, great lyrics, great singing, and great way to close out the movie. Again, the ending is sentimental, and the second act does drag, but besides that, you have the inspiration from Goodfellas and Boogie Nights. The way this movie is shot is really good. For $53 million, this movie was produced. And Dennis Leary is also a producer on this movie. That's a fun fact. Dennis Leary is actually a producer on this. And the soundtrack choices are great. Johnny Depp, Penelope Cruz, everyone brought their A game in this film. I think this is a great film, a very underrated Johnny Depp movie in my eyes. This is my second favorite film that he's ever done. And if you are a fan of Johnny Depp, then I definitely recommend you watch this movie, because this is a pretty good movie, and it's a pretty amazing film. And despite two problems I have with this film, the problems I have with this movie, that the second act does drag, and it gets a little bit too sentimental at the end. I understand why it gets sentimental at the end. You got all the great things that makes this movie great. And because of that, I'm giving Blow my highest recommendation. I'm going to give this movie a better than Vampire Academy. Let me know what you guys think of Blow down below. Have you seen it? What do you think of it? What is your favorite Johnny Depp movie? Is it this, Pirates of the Caribbean, Edward Scissorhands? Did you like this movie? Do you not like it? And if you like this, you can come here and we can have a good time.